flexible plastic adhesive. Hello everyone, thanks for joining me again. Down below I'm linking two videos. They were the previous reviews of this 5-finger sparring glove. The first one was a general impression unboxing video, and the second video was a critique after 40 plus hours of heavy sparring, of which I found 3 areas that I believe were very flawed. Check out that video if you want more details, but the areas that were flawed were generally the wrist area, the thumb, the separation between the padding and where the resin starts, I believe, is too weak, and this pad needs to be bigger and come over the thumb a bit more, and also come up over here higher and be of this thickness versus what they've put on here. And the next was the fingers being protective and protecting your finger from being broken. I did get quite an injury because it snapped right here. If you can see that, it snapped quite right in half and then cut my finger. So since making that video, I've had some conversations with other friends who have different versions of this glove. The one that's just a full clamshell glove without separate articulated fingers, and another individual who has the version of this glove where the resin goes all the way around the tip of the fingers. And one thing that was noted that we're going to have to test is he believes the resin on his gloves was thicker. And mine, he believes, is thinner, which may have led to it actually breaking. So that might actually be a flaw of my glove in particular, or it might not. The other thing I noticed the more I looked at it, if you look here at the top of the fingers, the resin does get thinner, and that's where the injury and the snapping took place. So not only could they improve this glove in a few areas based upon my other video, this one may have actually come off the line not quite up to maybe even their own standards. So what I'm here for in this video is, and as the title suggests, is making a Frankenstein hybrid version between the Red Dragon glove here and the 5-finger sparring glove by taking parts from this, particularly the leather on the fingers, and using this flexible plastic adhesive, which says it's good for plastic, vinyl, fabric, canvas, rubber, leather, all of the things I've got here, and basically making a hybrid between these two gloves and fixing up the 3 areas which I believe are relatively weak on these gloves for heavy sparring. So stick around, watch the full video. I'm going to splice in just some shots of me playing around and making the gloves to finally have a finished product at the end and see what happens. See if I do create a Frankenstein monster, or will I actually create a decent hybrid glove that might actually work. Have you ever seen so many clamps? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've run out of clamps. Got 2 left. Just started on this glove. I'm going to probably, after I get these glued on, I even put some of this rubber glue on the little split there. Not that it's going to do anything. But once I get these all glued on in the next couple days, I'm probably going to either just wrap it, put my fingers in the glove, with maybe another glove inside to create a really large finger pocket, and then I might wrap them in just hockey tape, just to keep them on there solid. Or I actually had an idea to grab that rubber spray. You can buy essentially the stuff that's on the handles of tools, that rubber material. You can actually buy that in a spray can. And I'm actually thinking about taping them off so that I can then spray that rubber on top of all of it and sort of give it more of a uniformed rubber look. Because right now, you can't tell right now, but there will be a definite separation between the resin and the leather fingers that I cut off my red dragons. Sort of like that. So I'm thinking if I... Where's my finger? There's my finger right there. If I spray paint that plastic over top of all of it and give it a few good couple coats, it might make it look a little more uniform. I'll experiment on one finger, probably when I get to that stage. So I pulled off a lot of the clamps. I'm actually kind of surprised right now. This is working. The rubber slash this adhesive right there seems to be doing very well. It's on there good. How well it will hold up to being hit repeatedly, I'm not entirely sure yet. The thumb almost looks like it's supposed to be there. It's quite amazing, actually. And I've since gone and just grabbed a glove like this to wear on the inside. If once again, as I've mentioned, if you check out the previous second review video, you'll understand what I'm talking about there, where I mentioned that you probably need to wear a glove on the inside of these just in case, one, the resin cracks, and two, to help against vibration when the resin actually gets hit. So I have actually put a glove on, and you know what? Let's test that right now. Okay, so here we are. I've got the glove within the glove, plus the new Frankenstein hybrid between the old cut-up red dragons and their finger guards. So the inside of the finger guard is actually a Lenovo foam. I'm not quite sure what kind of foam that is, but in reality, you don't need a red dragon glove to do what I've done here. You could probably grab some sort of hard foam, and if you made it somewhere around a quarter, I would say around 3/4 of an inch, you could actually get the type of foam that you can heat up and then mold to these fingers, and then you could actually make some nice, it doesn't even have to be segmented like that. That's just the way the red dragon gloves were designed. You could do that for looks. You could, or you could just literally just put foam over top of them, and then at that stage, you don't need to cut up a glove. You can just form your own fingers and glue it on, probably with the exact same stuff. The other, before I do any hit tests, you'll notice I had to cut here in order to keep the fingers able to flex like that. So if you did use your own foam, you in theory could build it up at the fingertip, and then you could build it quite thick up here, and then you could taper it down towards the finger so you wouldn't have a hard cutoff like that. I may grab some plastic spray, so the same sort of, or rubber spray, the same sort of stuff that coats tools, you can actually buy in a spray can, and I'm going to test it on one finger and tape it all off and then spray it with that and see if I can make it look a little more integrated. If not, you want to know what, I'm actually I'm happy with the way this actually turned out here. But so, like, just on the thumb, I can't feel a single thing anymore. There's no vibration, there's no nothing. It's still staying pretty solid by the looks of it. I may, before I spray the glue on, I may tape, when I've got my glove on the inside around here, just on this edge, just so to keep things from snagging it, maybe. Haven't decided yet. But to me, I'm thinking why they didn't do this when they made this glove now. Now that I've gotten this glove to this stage, and if they would have made some sort of segmented armor like this out of this stuff, which I'm pretty sure is even harder than the foam that's in this, they could either use this or they could use the very similar foam. I'm now questioning why they didn't make it like this from the beginning. And if you look at the thumb, if they would have made it like this with a pad that is this thick, that overlaps a little bit more here and then comes up over here, they would pretty much have maybe the best glove out on the market. here we go. The Frankenstein gloves. So this is the final product after about 16 or so hours of sparring. They're getting a little bit more worn in, but I am very impressed with how these actually turned out. I think it was a really good idea. The glue I used, which was a little bit more of a rubber type glue, more of a cement, I put it on there, is holding up very well. And as I mentioned in the video, I'm very surprised that they don't offer a glove like this. The level of protection, I mean, if you don't pay attention to the fact there's no padding right there, but if you go back to my second video review of these gloves where I pointed out the flaws, you'll note that I suggested that this part of the cup comes down farther anyways, because there's no reason why it can't, due to the way you actually can move your fingers already. Without going into that, the level of extra padding that the Red Dragon sort of foam and leather adds on top of the resin might make this now one of the best gloves I've ever worn. As I was using these, the mobility with them has not changed. The finger positions have not changed. Even down here on the pommel, even still the way you hold the glove and pommel hasn't changed one bit. So overall mobility hasn't changed. Weight hasn't changed. It's maybe added like 1 or 2 ounces. Nothing that you're ever going to notice. But more importantly, this extra bit of padding, you can see how thick it is there, I hope, has added such a level of shock absorption to the fingers that I haven't felt quite this protected with any sort of glove in the past. Now, one thing I want to make very important about a lot of the video tests that are out there that I've watched, a lot of people do the sort of tapping tests, right? Or they'll have a friend just sort of lightly hit their hand in all sorts of different positions and ways with the sword. I don't think those are very good tests to take quite literally, if that's the right word. Because most hits that you're going to get on the fingers that are actually going to hurt, that are going to crack the resin, that are going to, crush your fingers, they are full fendetas. They are full blows. They might both be full tuttavoltas and coming over from one side with the momentum of your entire body behind one of these. That changes how the sword is going to hit the fingers. So it's really important to note that I've actually taken a few of those blows with these new finger pads, the Frankenstein fingers. I've now taken a few full blows on my fingers and one on my thumb. And it might be the best level of padding I've experienced to this date, outside of a full clamshell like the Spets Heavy. And when I'm doing medium sparring, medium heavy sparring, I don't wear an inner glove. This is fine, but when I'm doing heavy sparring, I now put an inner glove in here, and with the inner glove plus the Red Dragon fingers plus the resin, I haven't felt quite so secure with any glove or anything I've ever worn on my hands for full speed sparring with metal swords. I haven't gone so far as to fix the rest of the glove yet, so this is just stage 1, and I do want to say that this needs to be something they offer. They need to figure out their own way to do this on top of their resin that looks better, that's integrated a bit more. As I've mentioned in the video, like the thumb looks like it should be there. I mean, if the pad was just a little bit better. There's so many good things I now have to say about adding these on. I highly suggest if you have these gloves and you have the time to either buy Lenovo foam and layer it up with 3 layers and then glue it on yourself. That would be another way to create shock absorption. There's many types of materials that you could probably choose, even leather, because the glue I use is actually meant for leather as well. So in theory, you could put a couple doubled up pieces of leather on top of this, hardened, maybe the top one waxed, and if they were hardened, it'd probably give you the same effect if you have a glove on the inside as well. So I'd like to say thanks for watching. Here we are, the Frankenstein hybrid gloves. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed the process of making these gloves and now showing them to you guys. Thanks for watching. Like the video and subscribe if you want to see more. I hope to maybe get some more gloves in the future and start playing with those and maybe even modifying all sorts of different gloves to see if we can make them better. Thank you and have a great day.